You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time has somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the hearts revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. 'Cause this is where the magic magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts. Close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens. Feeling all the hearts. Ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Good morning and welcome to CSL St. George. We're so glad you're here for our Sunday service on this last Sunday in January. So let's spring roll in. So anyway, again, we're happy you're here. We are an open, loving, and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. Our purpose is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life that they love using science of mind and spiritual principles and practices. So let me tell you who's joining us today, our service team. My name is Gwen Hadley. I'll be hosting today. Behind the scenes, making everything flow beautifully, is our own practitioner, Bill Smith. And Alan joins us again for his wonderful singing and songwriting and all of his wonderful music expertise. Our own Star Starrett will be doing our invocation and our reading. And of course, our own Joe will be here as our senior minister. So anyway, sit back, relax, and here we go.
Thank
Alan, good morning.
Hello, Gwen. You're always so kind to me on those introductions. Just checks in the mail.
All right.
Hello, everybody. I know you're all doing well. We're going to kind of relax a little bit and sit back and ponder. But we're going to sing this little song, Holy Ground, and we'll break after a couple verses, and then Star will come in, offer our invocation, and we'll come back and sing a little bit more. So please join in. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for I walk with God. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Everywhere I am is holy ground, and I live in love. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my life gentle and easy.
Alan. All right. Just relax as we start this service. I am recognizing that I am one with God, that infinite spirit that arises within each and every one of us. I know this for a fact because it cannot do it with me and not do it with everyone else. It is pure and holy and wholly perfect already inside. And so knowing that, I also know that feeling good is a good part of being God. And so I rise to that
feeling, that knowing, that experience. And as I do this, I know it can be done by each and every one of us. And so I bless this service, this feeling good service, this place in our hearts where we know we are home and enjoyed and loved and cared for. And so I release it into the law, because I know that the law says yes to everything I think, everything that I am, everything that I perform is me, through me, for me, and as me. And so I release it into that law with deep gratitude, as together we all say, welcome to this day. Yes, and thank you. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Star. Thank you. Everywhere I am is holy ground, and I stand in peace. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of sweet spirit makes my life gentle and easy. Everywhere I am is holy ground, and I dance in joy. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for I walk in God. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy, gentle, easy. All right, here comes Star again.
Okay. Double duty today. I was reading The Science of Mind, and as I do every morning, and I'm going to start my reading with a quote from Ernest Holmes. A certain specific intelligent idea in mind will produce certain specific concrete manifestation equal to itself. And as I was listening or feeling that this morning, I wrote this. And so I'm going to read what I wrote this morning. In numerology, today is another beginning. Okay, today I begin again with new insights and less past, fearless. In other words, I fear less. As the past is laid to rest, more space is available for new possibilities emerging. For I'm not done with life. Life is ever unfolding for me because of the energy I embrace is physically released with things like this mantra. My power and independence rise. Then my I am roars, no more disguise. This giant roar from the warrior archetype inside me announces to the world, I own you. As I release this roar, this ownership out loud, and set the tone of what I will and will not accept, and I lay waste to the latter. Then the magician or the alchemist arises with dark shades of wondrous purple, and a simple smile moves across my face as I believe in myself, and the new possibilities then they dawn on me. I claim them because I can. My perceptions from an old identity fade into the light of a new identity I choose. I then go after them feeling the lover archetype in all its swirling pink and green hues. This lover in me is all the passionate sensations behind my heart as they percolate these new possibilities into massive action. As I sit with these three aspects in me, I notice a golden light getting stronger as the divine queen, the source I am, is arising from the top of my head. I am now immersed in this golden light shining brilliantly all around me. This glowing golden queen speaking with all my senses at once these words: living is giving. As the light increases with this certainty, I feel and say profoundly, yes. And so it is. Thank you. Back to you.
Yes. Thank you, Star. Thank you. You know, I often get asked what my religion is. I don't know why. So I quote the Dalai Lama and I say, my religion is kindness. And I'm ever striving to remain kind and humble. So this song reverberates in me very specially. And this is my goal. You know there's a light that glows by the front door. Don't forget the keys under the mat. When your childhood stars shine, always stay humble and kind. Go to church 'cause your mama said to. Visit grandpa every chance that you can. It won't be wasted time. Always stay humble and kind. Oh, the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't rob, and don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip. Here's why. Bitterness will keep you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Know the difference between sleeping with someone and sleeping with someone you love. I love you ain't no pickup line. Always stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't rob, and don't lie. I know you've got mountains to climb. Always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. When it's hot, eat a root beer popsicle. Shut off the AC and roll the windows down. Let that summer sun shine. Always stay humble and kind. Don't take for granted the love this life gives you. When you get where you're going, stop, turn around. Help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride. Always stay humble and kind.
Thank you, Alan. What a feel-good song that is.
Thank you, Gwen. Thank you, everybody.
See you in a bit. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our own Reverend Joe Kovach. He's in the wings, about to join us here in just a few minutes. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. It's beautiful here. It's a little chilly, but the sun is shining, so we'll take that. Good morning, Rev.
Good morning, Gwen. How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Enjoying the music so far.
Yes.
Yeah, and a great reading. So I appreciate the lovely introduction.
Take it away.
And we will get away with a message. So from me, good morning to my beloved community. Sounds like the weather in St. George is as beautiful as here in Las Vegas. It's been, I had last week off, and I want to start out by thanking Reverend Veronica Silva, a good friend of mine. And I know she shared that we went to ministerial school together. She's an amazing person, and I loved her talk. I thought it was inspirational, and from what I've heard, you did too. So, Reverend Veronica, thank you so much. And I'm actually going to quote something that you said in a little bit. So, the talk had an effect on me as well. So this week, talk title is Feeling Good. And my mind first went, when I heard that, to the song Feeling Good. I know it as Michael Bublé, and I'm forgetting the original singer now in my head, sorry. But you can look it up. It's a great, just kind of mellow, yet feel-good song. It's simple, and I like that. And today's talk is Feeling Good. The monthly theme is a grand rising, and we are doing that. We are doing just that. The last time I spoke, we were in person. David Jorgensen sang for us. It was beautiful. We had a ton of people show up, and we are doing our own grand rising. And that's what we're talking about, right? As Centers for Spiritual Living, the organization, their long-term vision is creating a world that works for everyone. And the grand rising fits right in, because that's the movement of the thought of a grand rising. And we need to occasionally stop and ask ourselves, what does that look like? Like, what does a world that works for everyone actually look like? Because we can contemplate it, and some of us will be called to take action, specific action. And I do believe just contemplating it is action. But at the same time, we're in this physical world, and things to change, behaviors and actions need to change. So each one of us, has our own place. I do believe that we each have chosen to be here and incarnate in this time and in this specific time in history. And the fact, too, that we have all chosen to gather as our collective spiritual faith in Centers for Spiritual Living. And God doesn't make mistakes. We're doing things as we are supposed to be doing them. And what I mean by that is we're following our heart, we're following our intuition. And that's really what we teach, going within, tapping into that divine spark, that divine spirit that leads and guides us. And so, in essence, by creating something anew, we're being invited to step out of our comfort zones, lean into the healing that needs to take place. And by healing, that means we need to, in essence, see the truth in every circumstance as the divine unfolding. And while it may seem like a daunting task, it can also be done, and while we're doing it, feel good. So Ernest Holmes gives us an idea of what this may look like. One, what does it look like to feel good? And two, what does it look like to continue to shift consciousness? So it's a bit of a long quote. I'm going to still share it with you. You can always go back and read it, but this is Ernest Holmes. He says, find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of his soul, and I will find another Savior, another Jesus, and an exalted human being. Find me one person who no longer has any fear of the universe or of God or of man or of anything else, and you will have brought to me someone in whose presence we may sit, and fear shall vanish as clouds before the sunlight. Find me someone who has redeemed his soul, and he shall become my redeemer. Find me someone who has given all that he has in love, without morbidity, and I will have found the lover of my soul. Now, these are his words of what he described that made him feel good. If I were to shift that, in essence, what I feel in that quote is being in the presence of an energy, whether it's a person or nature or spirit, because we know all is spirit, and having no fear, right? That's in essence what we want, and what we're striving to go inside and release all these demons that we think we have, or these just thoughts and beliefs that keep us rooted in lack or limitedness, and feel free. Right. And so he tapped into that in his own way. And while each of us may not use the same examples, or we may, it's the feeling that comes through his words. And so living from this understanding of being free and feeling good, this is how this leads to our collective grand rising. Last week, going back to Reverend Veronica Silva, she talked about how life comes in waves, and she's a nurse, as she shared, and that, we all want to be at the top of the wave, and just kind of almost never look down, but we have to recognize the whole wave in order to know that we are on top of the wave. And that was a great example and a great reminder that, life comes in waves. And I believe, in essence and simply, when we're feeling low and slow or depressed, that those waves are longer and deeper. And when we're feeling good, they're kind of higher and higher pitched, so that even the lowest low of our higher consciousness is nowhere near the low and slow. And so we have, we don't have to, but, learning to recognize and accept the highs and lows, the struggles and the triumphs are all part of this journey called life. And again, she gave the example as a nurse that, we all want everything kind of just to maintain a flat line. And she reminded us, in nursing, flatlining is not feeling good, because that means you are released of this physical body. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but while we're here, we can learn to feel good through the entire process. And this faith, our faith, assists us in changing our consciousness, our way of being, so that we can get to this place of feeling good all the time. And when I say all the time, it's never 100%, because there are things where we experience loss, just natural loss, the death of a loved one. And while we may hold the belief, as we do in religious science, that life is eternal and that they're just shifting and transforming into a new form, et cetera, we're still here. We're having this experience, and they are, in essence, gone. Even if we can talk to them consciously, it's a shift. So we experience grieving. And that's part of what we signed up for. So one of the things, another way of looking at it, is not just getting to the point to where we can handle everything, the ups and the downs, but also, as Ernest Holmes said, doing this knowing that we are safe, that we are always being provided for, and that the recognition, why is this? Because everything is God. Everything is spirit in essence, at the very basis of everything. And it is our individual consciousness of the one that determines our experience. So this changing of consciousness happens one thought, one belief at a time. And Charles Glassman reminds us that even the smallest changes in our daily routine can create incredible ripple effects that expand our vision of what is possible. And one of the examples I learned and then I used to share when I used to teach in the local jail here was if you took a map of the United States and put a yardstick across it, and it would go, let's say, and I'm just going to give this example because I can't remember the ones I used, but if I put it like Washington, D.C., and you went across, it would end up here on the other side in California. And just by moving it up 1 inch, you move up hundreds of miles on the long end of it. Right. So in other words, what the small things that we're doing today, we may not notice immediately within the first inch as we're going across, but eventually we will look back and go, wow, how far did I come? And we don't necessarily recognize it until we pause and give our attention to the change and how far we have changed. And when we're talking about changing for the better. Going back to Ernest Holmes' big quote, he talked about bringing me someone who is for something and against nothing, right? So this means we're just accepting, which is what the law of attraction teaches, that we get what we focus on. If we focus on what we don't want, right? So I'm against that. That means I'm giving my attention to that, and therefore more of that is going to show up. And so loving ourselves is at the center of our teaching. We start with spiritual practices at the beginning of our day, right? A grand rising to with intention and with power, with positive thought to affirm the day that we want to experience, affirm who we are, affirm what we are, and affirm that everything we're doing is serving, right? So we kind of got to pause and think about the larger picture as well. How do I want to affect the world? How can I be an advocate of positive growth? Recognizing diversity, making sure that I'm not leaving anybody out, that I'm recognizing the whole. Okay, not just focus on the people that irritate me or the things I don't like, etc., but recognizing even that is a catalyst to shift my attention to what I want to experience, which brings about that. And I don't know anybody who doesn't want to experience more happiness, love, joy, peace, and health. So the more that even you on your own does this, you're connected to the all. It affects everybody. Now, our weekly services, our classes, our workshops, and the other events that we design, they do provide the infrastructure often on the how. How do we make these shifts? What are the practices I can do? What are some examples and of outcomes and the process and the journey? And our centers are uniquely designed to serve as space for people to dive into these beliefs and their beliefs that are serving. And maybe I don't know, I'll say for me, it was a wake up, and I felt comfortable. I felt supported. I felt recognized within the Centers for Spiritual Living, which is what I was seeking, and helped me then continue to open up to a greater and greater truth. And so we can we can do that and feel good at the same time. So often I hear, as a counselor, that, counseling is daunting, and, you're going to open Pandora's box and so on and so forth. And while I will say that learning can be uncomfortable, in essence, what our faith teaches, what our philosophy teaches, is learning to be comfortable when you're uncomfortable. In order to do that, one of the things that helps is understanding that the uncomfortableness is growth. That's the feeling of growth. You're into newness, and newness is uncomfortable, not negative. It's just because we live habitually, we're doing something new. The brain says, I don't know where this is going because I don't really have a past to gauge it or judge it upon. So, and that can be a terrifying feeling, but it's growth. And, the comfort zone is a tricky place. And it sounds easy. And I know it's not always that way. Manuel Ora says, coming out of your comfort zone is tough in the beginning, chaotic in the middle, and awesome in the end. Awesome in the end, because in the end, it shows you a whole new world. Make an attempt. He's saying make an attempt to, in essence, get uncomfortable, to grow. And this is a great time. Again, it's January as we're going back to basics. So I want to share a couple more of our what we believes with you. The first one is that we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. So what does this mean? To me, this part goes back to the quote that, we're experiencing, we are all for something. Our attention is going towards that something, and therefore the opposites don't really bother us. Now, I'm not saying that there may not be sickness, okay? And maybe we rise above that. And I know that we can, but in the process, in other words, those things, the negative allows us to shift the yin and the yang so if I'm experiencing something that's a discord in my life, that's unwanted, then that's a awareness. The key to change is awareness. And so that allows me then to shift to what I want to experience. And he is saying that for his thought, the ultimate is for all of us to live in that high state of recognition of the perfect presence of God in our life. The second says we believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. And this is important, especially for the people who are maybe listening for the first time or are new. In essence, that this gives us the freedom to recognize God as we recognize. Now, we're going to hear some amazing things. And I know when I first got into just New Thought in general, even before religious science, some of the thoughts, while they sounded really good, it was a big jump. I was raised as a Roman Catholic. And I remember the first time someone talked about Jesus as a master teacher, but not as the quote son of God as I was raised. And so it made sense calling that title. And then I liked it. And then there were thoughts of guilt and so on. And what if I'm being wrong and so on? And what Ernest Holmes shares in this we believe statement is that we're all going to go through our own personal journey of learning to tap into what's already there and who we are. And that's okay. Wherever you are, it's okay. It doesn't change who you are in truth and what you are in truth and why you're here in truth. But it helps us take that step. And sometimes it's a step that, doesn't necessarily work right away, but later on we're ready for. Now, parlay this into the global theme of a world that works for everyone. And we use this tagline to describe our global purpose. But again, how would this actually look? I guess is what I'm saying. And I want us to go from the individual to the collective, because you can't do one without the other. And so as we think about these changes individually and collectively, about co-creating a world that actually works for everyone, it can be daunting. But again, I want us to shift to doing this. Our feelings matter is what I'm saying. The feeling, even if I don't know really what to think. Well, what's the highest thought that you can think that feels good? Go with that. Even if later on it ends up being almost like the lowest level of thought because you've learned more, but we got to start somewhere. And that's where do we start? Generally getting uncomfortable, trusting ourselves, and taking that next step, right? Asking ourselves the questions. In what way can our community grow? In what way can I grow? In what way I find people offend me that causes me then to not feel good? Well, this is key evidence. Again, I can't change something I'm not aware of. So it's okay to go to that negative place. We're not avoiding it. We're not bypassing it. And, it's all good. I love everybody. No, you don't. Right? I'm working on loving everybody. First of all, as we know, it starts with ourselves. But as a center, Who are we? Are we being, is our message as who we're being actually diverse? Is it welcoming people of all places, races, and so on? Now, that doesn't mean you're going to walk in and there's going to be a balance. Diversity is diversity of where the community is. But is there anything, sometimes we have to look at, is there anything that's coming out as a resistant? If I learn that I'm saying certain things that could be termed offensive, now, even if they're in my truth, I can still acknowledge for some this may be offensive, so that actually pulls them in, and because I'm recognizing that. That's never my intent. And that's where the work of discovering our own biases and prejudices come in. We don't choose to know, to just say, I'm going to be biased against whatever it is, right? We pick these things up unconsciously. And so, we can bring them to the consciousness for change. And some centers, one of the hot topics I've been reading about is, the decisions for centers of spiritual living, of talking about these hot button things like politics, going to, what am I looking for? Abortion, things like that. And many people feel that we need to speak up and be the voice for this. And some, by sweeping things under the rug, that pile under the rug just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And then some people recognize that we do need to change, and that it is more than, let me share the quote, because from my own mentor, he shares Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, he's spoken for us and will be speaking soon. He says from one of our email listservs, he says, a world that works is not achieved by twiddling our metaphysical thumbs and singing kumbaya, but getting into the nitty-gritty of what ails those in our centers, the neighborhoods where the centers reside, and beyond. Now, I can get into agreement with that. And of course, as the senior minister, while I don't mind being uncomfortable, it's my belief at this time that telling you what to think about a global shift, a global anything, I don't believe that that's my place. What I share with you is a spiritual truth that I know of from my place, and I invite you to find your own. That's, to me, the biggest power that I can teach, is to empower you to realize you have the same opportunities as I do, as anyone, no matter where you are, no matter where you find yourself. That presence, that wisdom that speaks to me, and it was always speaking to me. And there's a lot of times I tuned it out because I said I knew what was true. And then I opened my mind up a little more. And so to say that you should vote this way or that way, or this is right and this is wrong, I don't believe that that's my personal place. And that may change. Now, I just turned 54 last Tuesday. And you know what? Maybe by the time I'm 64, something's going to change. But what I do believe is our community is still going to stand for what we stand for. And our new purpose is, I'm going to bring that back up in just a minute, is key to that change. Going back to this idea, Thomas Friedman says, the eye of a hurricane moves with the storm. It draws energy from it while creating a sanctuary of stability inside it. It is both dynamic and stable, and so we must be. An analog for the eye of a hurricane is a healthy community. When people feel embedded in community, they feel protected, respected, and connected. I love that. I love that. And so I want to, as a reminder, share our new, that's right. I was going to share, I kind of like the idea again of the protected, respected, connected, but I thought maybe we could rearrange it and do like a CPR, that we offer CPR. We offer connection, protection, and respect. I was just playing around with it. I wanted to put that out and share that with you. But I don't have slides, but I just want to, because I want you to hear them. So what I'm talking about is our new purpose. And the slide was up earlier, but I want you to just sit and listen to these words and let it resonate with you. So our new purpose is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life they love using science of mind and spirit principles and practices. Now that's the why we exist. And it's your purpose has this idea of something that can really never, it's an ongoing, never obtainable goal, in essence. And now our vision is how we plan as a center in St. George, in essence, to do that. So our vision is that we are a community-focused center, actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and friends so that all may live their best lives. And to me, that CPR, going back to the previous slide, it is about connection. It is about feeling safe, protection. It is about respecting where you are. And so with these 2 new guideposts, we're in a prime position that, we're starting a brand new day. Going back to my last talk a couple weeks ago, right? And this adds to the collective grand rising. And so watching the time here that, we are literally in a new consciousness. And as we create, there's going to be some uncomfortability. In other words, there's going to be change. We're going to be challenged in some ways. And yet all of this, I'm going to guide us with the idea of feeling good through all of it, because that means we're growing. And yes, we're going to make mistakes. That is part of succeeding. And we're going to do this by loving each other, by respecting each other, by being there for each other, by sharing our community with those that want to. We're not going to force it down anybody's throat. And at the same time, I'm kind of tired of hearing about that we're, a great best secret. And we're only being a secret because not enough people are being told about who and what we are. And I'm going to get back to that in a minute. But I do want to get back to another basics that helps us get to this point. Another what we believe. And these are, again, my Ernest Holmes. He wrote them a long time ago and shared them in the Science of Mind magazine. And he says, we believe that heaven is within us, and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. Again, I love reading this one because it reminds me that it's all right here. It's right here. We say inside, but it's consciousness. It's simply just what thoughts do I have that are keeping me from believing that this idea of heaven, what is my idea of heaven, this place, this experience where everything is provided, where I'm safe, where I'm joyful, where there is no idea of fear, and it's all joy and so far. We can experience that at any time. And that, again, that it's to the degree that we find ourselves, and we can do the work on raising that degree. So it is important while we're feeling good to ask ourselves, dive in, what thoughts and beliefs are we holding on to that are rob us of accepting this fundamental truth that we're already there. Charles Fillmore says that ideas exist eternally in wisdom. They are made manifest through will, and that manifestation is called consciousness. It is through them that the universe is brought into manifestation. So it sounds a little confusing. It might be by the way I read it, but this idea is the thoughts in your mind are powerful and they will manifest. And Star's sharing of her quote back to, I'm going to paraphrase, but the perfect idea held in mind is going to have a perfect result, whatever that is. Then let's make sure that we are co-creating from the highest and the best place that we can. This does involve letting go of ideas that we need to just change for change's sake, to shift from realizing that we're not just wanting to attract anyone, but that we are always attracting the right perfect people to our centers or into our lives. Okay? And that the more that I can feel good and the more that I can then share and help others feel good, these simple things. And Alan led us to a great opportunity to shift into something else that shifts, which is he talked about kindness. Well, this is right now starting in 2 days. is the season for peace and nonviolence. I don't know if you're aware of it. And there's some information, but it was created by Arun Gandhi. And it celebrates the 64 calendar days between the memorial anniversary of the assassination of Gandhi on January 30th and Martin Luther King Jr. on April 4th. And it begs us to focus on change by feeling good and doing this peacefully and nonviolent. So this to me fits perfectly right where we are now, and how we are as a community. How do we welcome all in a non-judgmental way, in a peaceful way, in a non-violent way, of course. And I have several quotes that I want to share, and it's going to be back to back because sometimes it'll help really just hammer down the fact that it's possible. So Martin Luther King Jr. says, "Here is the true meaning and value of compassion and nonviolence. When it helps us to see the enemy's point of view, to hear his questions, to know his assessment of ourselves. For from his view, we may indeed see the basic weakness of our own condition. And if we are mature, we may learn and grow and profit from the wisdom of the brothers who are called the opposition." That is deep. And I had never heard that quote before I was creating this talk. There's a lot in there. Are we strong enough to not only look at ourselves, but listen to those that we say ugh to and what they're saying to us? Instead of just shut them down, what are they saying? It may only reveal their weakness, but if it's offending us somehow, that means we have a thought in our system that says we need to protect ourselves from that. Oh, how could you say that to me? A lot of times in counseling, especially younger kids, I try to get on simplistic terms. And they'll say, well, they're calling me, so-and-so's bullying me. They're calling me fat or four eyes or dumb or whatever. And I said, and it may sound simplest, but it works. And I'll say, so if someone called you a tree, would you be offended? And they look at me obviously like, what are you talking about? And I asked them, would you be offended? And then they go, no. I go, why not? And they almost always say, because I'm not a tree. And I say, okay, so you believe that. And then so if someone calls you, I'll use the word fat, for example, do you have a thought or belief that maybe you're not happy with yourself at that level and that's just triggering you? Oh, that opens up a whole thing. And now we can look at it. Now we can heal it. And so that's what he's inviting us to do. Where are we triggered? And learn to stop reacting, but respond. How? With loving and kindness. He also says, I refuse to accept the viewpoint that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. I love that as well. So many people say, well, I won't see it in my lifetime. I don't hold to that. I have opened my mind to experiencing peace on earth. Because if I don't, then I'm never going to personally, I believe it's available to my own personal experience. I want to open to that. This is the work, my friends. This is where we allow the discomfort to show itself. We can give it a name and we can work with it until we recognize that it was love, that it was spirit, that it was God in disguise the whole time. Another quote, Robert Lawrence Smith says, a leap of faith is required if we are to believe that nonviolence can heal a violent world, that turning the other cheek when struck instead of striking back can end a fight. We need faith to believe that by loving our enemy, we can eventually transform him into an ally. That even when nonviolence fails to achieve peace, it can succeed in curing hate. Oof. Again, powerful. 2 more to go. Hang in there. Get back to Martin Luther King Jr. He says, nonviolence is a powerful and just weapon which cuts without wounding and ennobles the one who wields it. It is a sword that heals. This one for me, I wanted to share. I had to put in there because I I love and have prayed to Archangel Michael, my son's name, because of that. And I love the idea of this warrior angel who, in essence, fights for peace. And I always had a problem with that idea of fighting for peace or whatnot. But this idea that, in many pictures, he yields a sword as well. And so, he's using the sword to heal. It works for me. And I share this with you. Why? Going back to one of the what we believes, it's personal. This is what helps me feel God more. And I invite you to do the same. All right. Lastly, Thich Nhat Hanh says the essence of nonviolence is love. Out of love and the willingness to act selflessly, strategies, tactics, and techniques for a nonviolent struggle arise naturally. Key point, nonviolence is not a dogma. It is a process. So we can get involved and feel the shift one thought at a time and feel good. So affirming this at our affirmation, when I truly feel good, my light naturally shines bright. When I truly feel good, my light naturally shines bright. Right? So let's close with prayer. And I'm just going to know that profoundly that within my energy center of who and what I am, truth resides. All that is, the creator itself is who and what I am through this experience of being Joe Kovach. And I know that the same truth is true for each one who hears my voice, that they are each a point of God consciousness in expression, expressing perfectly who and as and through who they are in the moment. That it's all part of one loving, joyful presence. That at the core of who we are, it can never be hurt. It can never be offended. That it is unconditional love. And that is what we tap into as we meditate, as we change and shift our thoughts from reaction and being triggered to just allowing and being honest and healing what needs to be healed within us. And there is no end to how good we can feel. This good is all around us. It is us. It is in every experience waiting to be seen and experienced. I know that this community of Centers for Spiritual Link, St. George, has woken to a brand new day. And that seeing and feeling the goodness of this center, not as it stands today, but to the greatest level that we can hold it in our minds. Remembering that every thought will become a reality. So we take time each and every day to picture our community in its perfect state of welcoming, of safety, of respect, of classes, of workshops, of music, of joy. Why? Because it all helps us feel good. Good about ourselves, good about our communities, good about the state of the world, in spite of what it may look like to others who try to convince us otherwise. It is love, and that we act in a nonviolent and peaceful way within ourselves, for others, in this world that we live in, just opening to the highest and best. And so it is. And thank you.
And
I
thank
feel
you.
good.
Love is truly all around us. We sometimes forget that. That's a wonderful reminder. Thank you, Rev.
I appreciate it.
Now some announcements. Prayer requests, you can see on the slide there, the website. Our practitioners are here ready to pray with you, for you, whatever you might need, please contact us. Our next in-person service will be at the Masonic Lodge on February the 11th. Doors open at 10:30 for conversation and coffee, so please join us. And also join us after this for our Zoom conversation at noon. You can see more details in the newsletter and on the website. Council applications, we're still looking for another core council member. You can see that detail in the newsletter and website to contact Marina. On February the 17th is our Interfaith Harmony. We've got a group of folks. They sang last year. We've got a couple new ones that will sing with this wonderful, wonderful concert group. So please join us if you can. Abundant prosperity in the flow. We are grateful for all the gifts that you give us. There are many ways to give and support the center. Give with Zelle, which is a bank-to-bank transfer system. You can give online. PayPal link is there. QR code you can just scan to give, and even give by mail. Just send a check to the P.O. box located on the slide. So next Sunday, Rev is back. Lessons in uncomfortability. That's a mouthful. And then on the 11th, when we have our in-person gathering, he'll be back. Where comfort ends, transformation begins. So we look forward to those next 2 Sundays. And now Bill is going to pop us all up so that we can do our closing affirmation together. There we are. And so for those of you, wherever you are, please, I invite you to join with us and speak this wonderful affirmation. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do. I am it. I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you, guys.
Thank each one of you.
Have a wonderful Sunday, everyone.
Be the blessing you want to receive.